Yay!
Hey everyone, and welcome to Tall Tale Short Tale.
We are so happy to see you. My name is Nora Panahi, and that is to my left on the screen, or right on the screen, is Bella O'Connell.
Hey, it's me. Very true.
Oh yeah. Bella, how was your day?
My day was great. I just spent the last hour watching sheep herding videos and livestock guardian dog videos.
Nice. Did you learn anything about the sheep?
Yeah, they were about the sheep herding ones were like these kind of overhead images of these large amounts of sheep being herded, and like the shapes that it created on the landscape were super calming.
That's beautiful. Getting in touch with
how about
your nature side.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you get in touch with any new sides of yourself today?
No new sides. I had a great day. I went on a date. It went great. I won't bore you with all the details because this is Tall Tale Short Tale, and we're not about unnecessary details on this show. We're all about just getting right to the point. We're very brisk and blunt. That's our thing. Yeah.
We have an absolutely awesome lineup of comics tonight who are going to share their stories with you. Before we get started, though, I was thinking for anyone new to the show, maybe the performers backstage, that you could do an example, Nora, of like a story that maybe doesn't have the fat trimmed off it yet. And we can try out.
I would love to share a story. Bella, could you remind me, what is our theme for the night? I need to figure out what topic I'm supposed to talk about.
I wish I could make an elephant trumpet sound because it's a zoo. The theme tonight is zoo, so the stories will be loosely inspired by, if not animals, then just the initial response that our comics had to the word zoo.
or tightly inspired by. Yeah. I'd love to tell a little story about the zoo. Here's a little story. This is something that you may not know about me. When I was a little kid, I'm talking like 3 or 4 years old, I was obsessed with a little movie called Chicken Run. Um, Chicken Run, for those of you who don't know, is a claymation masterpiece about a bunch of chickens who revolt against the chicken farmers. It is beautiful. They cast Mel Gibson in it inexplicably, but other than that, it's a perfect film. I was in love with all of the characters. I had these like little Chicken Run figurines of Mel Gibson's character Rocky and then Ginger, who was his chicken girlfriend. And I carried those figurines with me everywhere I went. I was obsessed with them. And so one day, I think this was when my family was living in South Carolina. I don't remember because it was when I was a young person and my brain had not formed yet. So, but like, parents, they need to find something to occupy an active 4-year-old's mind. So my mom took me to the zoo for the day. Oh no, wait, we lived in South Carolina, but then we went to Washington, D.C. I remember. See, it's all coming back. We went to Washington, D.C., went to the National Zoo, I guess, and I had my little chicken friends with me, and I was showing them to all their fellow animals, and I was riding around in my little stroller, just having a blast. And then we get back in the car, and I look down, and my Ginger and Rocky figures are no longer in my hands. Somewhere at the zoo, I dropped my 2 little chicken friends, and I threw the tantrum of tantrums like any young child would when her 2 little little friends were gone. And so in order to placate me, my mom went to Toys R Us and bought, I think, 3 of each figure so that if I ever lost them again, we would have backups on hand. And I was reunited with my little friends, and it was great. That's my zoo story.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nora, they chicken ran.
They chicken ran.
You would become the landlord. You'd become the ruling class.
They chicken fell out of my stroller. But, they were happy. They were with their fellow animal brethren. So I think that it was time for us to say goodbye.
Absolutely. And I don't think your parents are the only ones. Like, I know my girlfriend's family as a kid, like the ultimate doll was Yellow Baby, and they have like a bucket of like 50 Yellow Babies from the 90s. Just in case. Well, awesome, Nora. That story, I mean, I for one loved all the details. Maybe I'm just a Chicken Run fan, but I have a feeling, not unlike the nuggetization process,
awesome,
I have a feeling you can refine that chicken story and bring it down. So if our awesome tech Matt could give 10 seconds on the clock.
Oh, wow. 10 seconds? Hold on.
10 seconds. You're getting a lot better at this. This is like our fourth show.
Okay. And go. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with Chicken Run. And then I brought the toys with me to the zoo. And then I dropped them at the zoo and I lost my goddamn mind. So we bought a bunch more. The end. And cheers. Thank you.
That is exactly how it's done, folks. That's how the chicken is ran.
Oh, thank you.
They say in agriculture.
It's actually a chicken nugget. I did not plan that, but you brought up nuggets, so I'm gonna eat my nuggets.
I have a little toy chicken leg that should be across the room, but now I'm feeling like maybe when I check, it won't be there.
They're everywhere, man. They're taking over. So, who do we have performing tonight? Do you want to bring one on screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Who don't we have performing tonight? I'm super excited about this lineup.
Let's bring up our buddy Rasheed Towns. Rasheed, where are you at?
Here I am. I'm right here. Hey, what's going on?
How much?
Hey, great to have you, Rasheed.
I'm doing good. This is great. I love it. Thank you guys for having me on. What I love about this channel is that, like, remember back in the day there was like GeoCities, and I wanted to have like all my friends on like my one little GeoCities neighborhood. You guys have done that, but much cooler than GeoCities. This is pretty cool.
Absolutely. I know. I wish those things were still GeoStage was still archived for a long time, but I think 2MB is here to stay.
I hope so. Yeah. This is awesome. So thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And anytime if you want to wear that hat, you can become a co-host. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
Isn't it nice? And I got that. Paired it with the Martin Lawrence / Martin Luther King shirt.
The Martins.
So,
We got the Martins here.
Yeah, you know.
We do.
Happy Black History Month, everybody. So, you know, thought I'd represent, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, thank you. So Rasheed, do you have any fun stories kicking around in your head that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I do. Fun's a relative term. I'm basically just talking to you about my pain. So I'm a father, and which if I'm talking in stressed tones, it's because I have 3 kids sleeping outside right now. I'm outside the house right now, and I'm just trying to make sure it's like safe. Yeah, you know. Okay, so there's like this thing in anime and manga right now where like people will read, and then all of a sudden they're like in the video game or they're in the comic book or they're in the movie, right? Kind of like a Jumanji, but it's like everywhere now. And that's what's like when you're a parent taking your kids to the zoo, right? Like I'll just be sitting there in the middle, and then I'll be like staring with like a sloth or like a big bear, and just being like, I want that life. And then I realize, oh my gosh, I'm in the story right now. Like everybody wants to go back to the way things were like pre-pandemic, and I kind of don't because like. You know, it's gone. My hair's gone. Like, I'm not going to get my hair back. My patience is gone. But I do miss the zoo. I miss, like, just all the people together. But there's some zoos I don't, like, really like. Like, I live up in New England. I live by Salem, Massachusetts. And we have some okay zoos. Like, there's one zoo whose name I won't mention because I'm not allowed there anymore. They do this thing during Christmas where they have, like, people come in. And they're like, we have like reindeer. But the one time we went, like we had no reindeer. And so my kids were like freaking out, like, where's the reindeer? And so they had a penguin, like with the little reindeer thing on, like lights. And I was like, the penguin was like in the corner, like smoking a cigarette, being like, what do you want from me? I'm like, I don't know, I don't want this. My kids want to see reindeer. Franklin Park in Boston's nice. It's interesting. I used to live in Boston, so I like going back to the old neighborhood. What I don't like is how like I spend like $30 trying to get my kids in, and then all they want to do is play in the little playground in the middle of the thing. Like we're in the zoo. Like there's like a flying squirrel, and you guys are in the playground. Now the playground's dope. It's got like 5 levels, and like there's like I remember the last we went there, I was like, wow, this is like empty. It's like the middle of the day. There's nobody here. Turns out like 1,000 people and their kids were all at the zoo at the playground in the middle of the zoo. That was good. You know, I think for that reason the Franklin Park Zoo has like a very lax liquor policy, so I brought in a lot of liquor that day. But my favorite zoo is the Columbus Zoo in Columbus, Ohio. Like, so my mom is from Columbus, Ohio, which is the reason why I am not angry. I'm just passive aggressive, and my wife is not from Columbus. My wife and I was born in Boston. My wife is thoroughly New England, right? So she doesn't understand. Like Columbus. Like here's a story. On my 21st birthday, we went to one of those go-kart places in Columbus. And what they do is it's right off the highway. So they put the person, you put your name and your face and your time if you got the top time of the day. So I love go-karts because like I'm a big dude, but like I could use the gravity with the downward track. It's just like an Indiana Jones like ball just going down. And so I got the highest score that day. I got 26 seconds, it's 0.66 seconds, right? But they refused to put the time up on the thing because it was 666. And I was like, sir, and my wife was like upset. She's like, well, I mean, she was my girlfriend at the time. She's upset, like, you can't do this. This is like, you finally won something. And I was like, that's a horrible way to put it. And she's like, you gotta like go up there like and fight for it. So I was like, sir, you know, I can you put my time up there? He's like, no, I can't. It says 666. I'm like, no, actually, it says 2666. He goes, it's 2666, so it's too evil. I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense to me. And we were just watching Bridgerton, but my wife is the Bridgerton lady, basically. That's just like when I had hair. Anyway, so the Columbus Zoo is interesting because in the Columbus Zoo they have like big zoo people. They have dinosaurs, and it's right across the street from like a creation museum. I mean, it's a creation museum / Bennigan, so it's got cool like apps. But anyways, so it's interesting. It's like a dueling like philosophy, and I love going there. My wife is just like doesn't understand. Like she's like, how is a creation museum over there, and the rules is over there. But I love it. It's great. It's Jack Hanna. They have all these people there. Like they have, it's not the most diverse area though of Columbus, because Columbus is a pretty diverse area, and like the actual like zoo area is like you ever shine like a light on a bright white piece of paper? That's what it's like. That's what it looks like diverse wise. But I love that zoo. It's got more animals than than Boston. I mean, the people are great. The people are watching are great. It's kind of where like that zoo, the Cincinnati Zoo, is where like the Harambe thing like happened. If you remember that from years ago, so like it's a very popular zoo. And then I love going from there to the Creation Museum, where they're basically like, oh, everything you heard over there it's kind of true, but the dinosaurs part, you know. Like there's a clip recently that went around where like a person was like, here's the sloth, and just so you know, Christians are the most like persecuted people. It's like it just went out like last week, right? Like, and it was in the middle of him explaining sloths. And the funny thing is, people were up here were like, that would never happen. Like, who would do this? And I'm like, oh, you've never been to the Columbus Zoo, where people like that all the time, you know. It's the second. I mean, I guess it's the second best zoo because probably the best zoo, I guess, theoretically, is like Disney's Animal Kingdom. I'm not sure if you guys been there because they have like real animals, and they have like the fake avatar animals, which is kind of neat. And I love going there because like the kids love running around, and I love drinking there because they got the Dole Whip. It's the only place in America where you get like rum in your Dole Whip. That's kind of my favorite like place to go. And I've heard I've had a good time there. I don't remember. Really. So, like, I'm just like, the kids are here. It's super hot, and I'm a cheap drink. So, I guess in conclusion, again, like when you're a dad, yeah, I have all these great experiences via the pictures I've taken. But it's kind of like I think I played Jumanji when I was 14, and I woke up and I was a balding 40-year-old. You know what I mean? That's what it's been like. Have you guys been to any of those zoos before?
I've never been to the Columbus one, but I have been to Animal Kingdom.
We should go to the Columbus one.
All the ones in Boston.
What are you doing after pandemic? Let's go to Columbus.
I'll meet you there.
Yes, I'll take you. And Columbus is weird too, because like Columbus is like you know, Ohio is like pretty red now, and like there's like a lot of KKK people, but like Columbus itself was voted like the what was it? And there's like a big sign in this one neighborhood in Germantown, which is like Columbus voted the gay friendliest city in America or whatever, right? Like it's like, so it's like right by the Ohio State. It's like super progressive, but then like you go like 20 miles out the road and you have like again like 3 creation museums. It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh, the wrong kind of bears at the zoo all of a sudden.
What is a creation museum? That is more interesting to me than a zoo, because I have never heard of something like this.
I really want to go to one of these, like a Noah's Ark.
Okay, yeah. So they're all over. It's so great. So I mean, I love it because I went to seminary and I'm a pretty liberal Christian. I'm an extreme liberal Christian. So it's like I love it because they're wrong. And you go in there and it's just like oh my gosh, like remember the old science museum in Boston, like the old like so it's got like not even accurate like animals and like representation of animals, and there'd be like Adam and Eve, like white Adam and Eve, so whatever, and they'd be having like a spear, and there'd be like a T-Rex or something, right? Not a raptor, because raptor, that was just a fake news. And it would just be like with them, and it's just like, and it'd be like Bible phrases like taken wildly out of context, but they try to like basically make like they're trying to they don't believe in evolution in these places,
right? So
they're trying to like, you know, like bring that story of the Bible to like whatever. And then one of our friends Ahmed, who's does a lot of stuff, it's really great stand-up, he's got a funny joke about like, you know, they're saying that like the devil put dinosaur bones under the ground so people can find it. That's the kind of stuff you find at a creation museum, and it's fantastic.
That sounds amazing, and I want to go to all of them.
Please,
seriously,
let's go.
I want to find myself like, you know, losing my religion like REM, like as I stand in a creation museum. Like I just imagine people kind of standing near the exhibits thinking like, does this feel right? Like, do I have did my ancestors, was this what was going on?
Yeah. It's kind of you're like, hey, why? So I guess that's Noah's Ark. Why is Noah yelling at that black guy? I don't get it.
Yeah. Wait a second. Wait a second.
That's
Noah had
ham.
plenty of room at the
Yeah,
table.
exactly.
Well, there's so much to unpack here, and I'm like gonna be going on a complete Wikipedia binge of all these zoos and creation museums. But what we do around here is take awesome stories and whittle them down to size.
All right,
Just
let's
like
do
a
it.
Tall tale.
Southern guy on the
Let's make it
porch.
short.
Okay.
Can you please pick a number for us between 1 and 5?
4.
4? All right, Rasheed. Congratulations. You got 13 seconds to tell your story again.
Awesome. My lucky number.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Matt. Put it on the clock.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready now. When you're an adult, you get to go to a lot of fun places. One place that's kind of fun is the zoo, where you see crazy people and crazy animals. Sometimes animals do weird things, and I like to stare, watch them, and say, I wish I could sit there and be taken care of my entire life. The end.
Awesome. That was so good. That reminds me of that song by the Kinks, I'm an 8-man, where it's like, I'm an 8-man, I just want to live in the freaking trees. I think that all the time, every day during the pandemic. Because they don't have capitalism. They don't have to go to work every day. They just hang out.
They just chill and play Nintendo. It's like, I love it.
They don't even know about Dippin' Dots, the ultimate ice cream of the future zoo food experience. Like flying in their cages.
Those poor bastards.
I know.
Rasheed, thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you online? Do you have anything to plug?
I got nothing to plug. Occasionally, I get the honor of being on this channel right here, so you can see me here sometimes. I'm here usually every Thursday for the Quarantine Action Wrestling show. Also, I'm everywhere on social media at Cool Hand Ross. So thank you very much for having me. Appreciate your time, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Ross. Great to see you.
We're going to take a freaking road trip and hit all of these creation museums because I have a lot of, I want to compare and contrast, what the Adams and Eves look like to make sure they're getting their facts right.
I feel like with enough Dole Whip, you'd be looking at the animals from Avatar at Disney 1 minute and wondering if they're from, the creation story the next.
And then Noah let 2 avatars onto his car.
2 baby Yodas came on. Can they reproduce? We don't know.
We'll
let them come and try it out. It's an experiment, right?
So why don't we get another person on this screen? Let's bring up our good friend from New York City, Laura Merli.
Hi.
Yay!
Hey, welcome, Laura.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. We are so excited. How is your day going? How's your life?
It's good. I can't complain. Besides that, I ate too much before this and I feel a little sick in my tummy. But other than that, I feel awesome.
If you have to puke during your story, go for it. We will not knock you off for time.
That's what I like to hear. I'll bring the camera with me into the bathroom if it comes to
that. Thank you. It means a lot. I love your exposed brick. I love your fancy ass couch that you're sitting on.
Thank you. When I was a child, my mom took this out of someone's trash on Big Garbage Day and got it reupholstered. And then when my family moved, it came to live with me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait till that becomes a new home renovation show genre, but it's just Austin Christmas style where you bring in furniture. I think there are a lot of really talented people who are making couches awesome again. And that would be fun to watch.
I'm kind of surprised that isn't already a reality show because it's such a good idea.
Right? It's like Project Runway meets home garden TV.
You said all my favorite things. Home, garden, TV, Project Runway. That's all I need.
Oh my gosh. If you add in upset tummy, that's our complete formula for success.
Do you have a little
sponsored by Tums?
Laura, do you have a zoo story to tell us?
I have a A to C zoo story. So
awesome.
It's also throwing me off so much that for some reason on my screen I'm the opposite.
Oh yeah.
Does that make sense? It's like the reflection of me. So every time I go to do something, it's like my opposite arm is moving.
Yes, it's like seeing your doppelganger and like realizing what you really look like in a dressing room because of the angled mirrors. You're like, that's my side of my ear.
Yeah, but sorry for the sidebar. I will get into my story now. So way back in the day when I was living in Boston, which is how I know you lovely folks, I actually got hired with a group to do improv comedy at someone's wedding. And yeah, and we got paid in money, but also in access to the open bar that they had there. So right when I get there, I was so excited. I got a nice glass of wine. And then I learned something even more exciting about that day, which is that there were llamas on the area, because this was a farm wedding. You know how those were big. And so we're like in a tent, like that's where the reception takes place. But I was like, guys, gotta go find those llamas, gotta check out the situation. So I leave the tent with my wine because nobody said that I couldn't. And I run up to the llama stall area and I just make eye contact with one really quickly. He's looking at me, I'm looking at him. I'm like, yes, I knew we'd have a connection. This is cool. So he starts walking over to me and I'm looking and he's like clomping. And I had heard that llamas can spit before at people, but the amount of spit that this llama unleashed directly into my face was so much and with such power that even though I closed my eyes, the spit went like under my eyelids. And my empty wine glass that I had just finished chugging when I got there was like filled back up with llama spit. And then right after this happens, somebody's like comes out and is like, hey, you're on soon. So I did not have time to clean up. So I performed at this wedding reception covered in llama spit. And then right afterwards, I went back to drinking. I was dancing with everybody, having a fun time. And I was like, you know what? I'm a forgiving person. I open up Twitter. I tweet, I forgive the llama at this barn wedding for hawking a loogie in my face. And I realized a little bit later that I spelled loogie loony, but it already had 3 likes. So I was like, we got traction. We're not deleting this bad boy. And then 3 years later, I get a notification that I get a reply to this tweet, which is strange because the tweet never blew up. It still has 3 likes only to this day. And the reply is a woman who's like, hey, I work at the Wall Street Journal and I'm doing a piece on barn weddings. And I saw this tweet. Can I talk to you? Can I interview you for this? So at first I thought it was a scam, but I checked, or someone just fucking with me, but I checked her out and she seems legit. So we have a conversation. It's really fun because I get to feel like a celebrity. And I actually just like love being interviewed. And the only other times I've gotten to be interviewed is for medical research purposes. So it was very exciting. But then immediately after the interview and I hang up, I get this rush of anxiety. Like, what if I said something really stupid and people laugh at me for the wrong reasons when they read this? Or what if I said something that like insulted someone who was there? So I'm having a lot of anxiety about this afterwards and thinking like, maybe I won't tell anyone about this. What if? Like, how many people do I really know who read the Wall Street Journal? And then like a week or so later, she emails me and is like, hey, thanks so much. Here's a link to the article. I used some quotes from you. And I click on it and it is behind a paywall because who doesn't have a subscription to the Wall Street Journal? Me. So I email my sister who's in a more professional position than I am and gets a subscription through her job and was like, hey, Julie, weird question. Can you read this article for me and make sure I didn't say anything fucking weird in it? And She did. It was luckily okay. And I got some screenshots of it. So that's how I ended up in the Wall Street Journal talking about llama loogies.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. That's so gross. Did this couple who thought it was a good idea to have an improv llama wedding stay together?
Yeah, I mean, they seem like they're doing really well, and it is really weird to have an improv group at your wedding. But what's cute about it is that they met in an improv class. So for them, it makes sense. Normally, I would say maybe avoid that, but because they had a like connection to improv, it's cute.
Oh my gosh! Did you like when you went up on to do your set? Did you like mention what had happened? Were you like, "I'm sorry, I'm all wet. I just got spit on by a llama. That's not an improv premise. This is my life." Or
no, I was just like, "Here we go." And also like the spit had kind of hardened. So like my face was like even less expressionate than it normally is because I kind of had like this sort of Nicole Kidman like
oh, that's so gross. I'm so sorry. You didn't get herpes or anything from this thing?
Wait, sorry, you broke up for a sec. What was that question?
Oh, I asked if the llama gave you herpes or any sort of disease.
Not that I know of. I mean, it could be a very mild strain of herpes.
You might be a carrier.
I might be a carrier.
Just don't spit on any llamas.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to make that sort of feedback loop or something.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Laura, I think we can all agree that story was great. It was hilarious. I laughed. I wept. I was a little sick to my stomach, but it's all you want in a story. But I think we could shorten it a little bit. What do you think, Bella?
I have faith. I believe. I think if Laura could make it across that wedding campus from the barn to the tent to the improv stage, we can shorten this story.
Oh, yeah. Laura, could you pick a number between 1 and 5 that is not 4, please?
Oh, 2.
2? Ooh, girl, you got 37 seconds to tell your story again. 37 seconds on the clock, please.
Okay.
And whenever you're ready, you can cue our tech Matt.
Go, Matt. So I was performing improv at a wedding, and I took a little detour in that performance. I went over to visit some llamas that were nearby, thinking it would just be a fun little experience. No big deal, no impact on the performance. And yet the llama decided otherwise. It spit in my face incredibly intensely, and then I had to perform caked in spit because I didn't have time to wash it off. But then I did, and everything was great, and I was in the newspaper. Isn't that wild? Now I still have the second left.
Yay! So I want to know, like, where's this article? Can we access it? Is it still up?
It's still up. Let me look up what it was called. Well, actually, I don't know if I can. If you Google like my name and Wall Street Journal, it'll probably come up, but I can find it later.
I love like you're going for a job and the recruiter Googles your name and it's just like, okay, so good with livestock.
Or bad with livestock.
Yeah, however you look at it. Maybe he just really liked you and he wanted to say hi.
Yeah, maybe that was his way. Some people like spit.
Sometimes when it's a little more smooth and not coming from a barnyard mouth, but
yeah, I think the moral we can take from the story is ask for consent before you spit all over someone's face and into their wine.
Yeah, that's what I always say.
Improv and weddings are something to be careful about. You can do an alpaca and get a band.
Yes, and we're like, no, thank you. That's
yeah. I have to say, didn't do my best work, but I don't think it was because of that. I think it was because improv is always a giant chance that you're taking. It's a giant roll of the dice.
life is like that. I say the three of us create like a divorce improv team and we can play courthouses.
Oh, sick.
That's a time when people need to laugh.
Laura, where can people find you online? Do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I'm at Passive Abrasive on all platforms. I've been posting the most on TikTok over quarantine, but I'm also on Twitter and Instagram, you know, all the major players out there.
If you're not watching Laura TikToks already, you are behind the times. She is hilarious. So many good, like, little, I don't know, what are they skits? Or they're just TikToks. They're TikTok, and they're all great.
One unit of talk.
Just a tick of talk.
Yeah, see all my ticks and my talks.
Thank you so much, Laura. That was awesome. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. You guys too. Love you.
Bye.
Love you, Laura. Thanks.
Oh my God. I am never talking to a barnyard animal without a hospital face shield.
Well, I know that llamas are kind of like fiercer, and they were bred to help people as guides while going through the mountains. And then alpacas are like the big kitties. So I'll stick with alpacas. They're not as spitalicious, shall we say.
Gross. I love it.
I have also, been the tech director for an improv engagement before.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, at least they had the foresight to understand to hire someone else to do improv at their wedding rather than doing it themselves.
I am very excited to bring on our next storyteller. She's hilarious. She's wonderful. And her name is Izzy Da Rosa. Let's get Izzy Da Rosa. Yay. Hi. Izzy, you're muted. We want to hear you.
Hello. Sorry.
That's
Thanks
okay.
for having me.
Welcome. How's your day so far?
It's good. I napped like all day. It was my first week back in the school building with the kids. So I think I was just super tired.
How are the kids? Do you feel safe? Is school going okay?
Yeah, it's good. I have a small class, so it's not so bad. They do forget to put their masks on when they get up sometimes, but they want to be careful. Like their intention is to be safe. They just forget because they're, 6, 7, and 8 years old.
Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know, Izzy, you've also been taking it Izzy on Instagram with your show on Sundays.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So every Sunday I do an Instagram live show where I interview different people, just ask them how they're taking it Izzy during the pandemic. And, there's not a lot for us to do. So just kind of finding out what people are doing, whether it's for fun or to relax or stay sane, or some people are actually being wildly productive, which I'm very impressed by, but it's all really fun. And I didn't want to make it a comedy show because I was like, I don't want to have to be funny, and I don't want other people to feel like they have to be funny. So yeah,
I definitely like the idea of taking it Izzy, and I think sometimes we feel the pressure to monetize hobbies and become good enough at something that's a job. So I like that you just want to know what people have been up to and kind of how they've been chilling.
Yeah.
And then shame them for not doing enough.
No, the only person I've ever shamed for being on my show was last week. I had my 2-year-old cousin on the show. I did shame him because he doesn't pay rent, but I feel like that's fair because I don't pay rent either. We both live with our parents. So.
But does he have his own show on Instagram?
No, he doesn't.
Not
there
yet.
you go. Case closed.
He can. He does say happy birthday. Very funny. He'll just go happy birthday. I don't know. It's really silly. He's also wild. He doesn't listen. So he's a fun time.
Aw.
That's awesome.
Do you want to take us on a little trip to the zoo?
Yes, I will. So working with kids, this was when I was a student teacher, 2 or 3 years ago now. We had a field trip coming up. So the teacher that I worked with has a point system where the kids have to earn enough points behaviorally. You get a certain amount of points, and really they don't have to do, I shouldn't say that because for them it's a lot. It's don't throw things, kind of be safe, engage in safe behaviors, you know, and effort is like really factored into it. So they were going to the Franklin Park Zoo. We were all going to go on Friday. And if you have a level 4, which was the lowest level day, lowest level you can have on any given day, if you get a level 4 at all that week, you couldn't go on the field trip. And like, to explain, a level 4 is a pretty extreme, like you have to have been like very violent for a majority of the day, you know, so you're not even safe enough to be in the classroom for the majority of the day. And usually if you have a day like that, your whole week isn't great. That's at least what I've observed. So it's not even like they would be ready. So we had a student who was pretty challenging, and he's like a big kid. So at the time he was a 2nd grader, but he was probably like 100 pounds, kind of small. Yeah, the llama was a level 4, and he was so funny. This kid is like one of the funniest kids ever, but he also, like, if he didn't want to do what you didn't want him to do, you could forget about it. So on this particular day, he was like very close to getting a level 4, and I had to leave the room with him. And I was like, he wasn't cooperating with me, and I think the teacher could hear that. So she came out into the hallway, and there were still adults in the room because like these classrooms have a high level of support in them. But she came out into the room, and we had to call his mom to speak to him about his behavior because he just wasn't listening and he was being disrespectful. I had never heard his mom speak to him, and when I tell you that she ripped him a new one, it was like, but no swearing or anything, but it was just like, you can't, this is unacceptable. I don't understand why they have to call me all the time because you don't know how to, you know. And I don't know why. I think I got so nervous, and it was also like somewhat funny that I was stifling my laughter, and my body didn't know how to respond, and I peed my pants.
Oh no!
Yep. I was a adult woman student teacher in an elementary school classroom, and none of the kids peed their pants that day, but I did. And then, so anyways, the week goes on, and we make it to the zoo. He got to go to the zoo. He didn't get a level 4. When we got to the zoo, he only had one small outburst. He was really upset. I shouldn't say small. It's relative, right? So like each student is different. So we were at the zoo, and he really wanted to see a particular exhibit we couldn't go to. It was not open at that hour. So we were like, we could come back. Some of them open at different times, I guess. Or maybe that was just what we were told and I didn't know. So he got really upset, and he kind of started to throw a fit. He calmed down. We sat down for lunch, and he got really mad, and he like flung his food off the table. And then I had to like take him to speak to him because I was learning and trying to get better at this role. So I walked away with him, just not far. And I was like, you can't, like, this is not how we behave, da 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 da. And then he looks at me, and he sucks his thumb a lot, and he pulls his thumb out of his mouth, and he just looks at me and goes, F you. But he actually says the word. And I was shocked because he was not a swearer. Like, there are kids who swear. He would not swear. He would even like pick music. That was the clean version. So then I did the thing where through gritted teeth, I was like, you are not going to talk to me like that. And then he tried to do it back through gritted teeth, but he has missing teeth. And then I got a little nervous again and stifled laughter and peed my pants once again at the zoo. So I peed my pants twice in 1 week during my student teaching experience.
Oh my goodness, Izzy, it's like you said about the kids with their level 4s. You know, it's usually part of a week. I guess that was just your week.
One of your level 4 weeks too.
Yeah.
Oh
for
my
me,
gosh.
for an adult, that's probably a level 4 day.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And I kind of don't doubt that the zoo did have weird hours because, like, I work with kids too, and stuff like that always happens at the exact moment that you're like, you know, I would just let the kid do it at this point. I just want them to explore. And then you find out that, apparently the exhibit's not open.
Yeah, and I'm honestly trying to remember why this particular exhibit wouldn't be open at that time. And I don't know if maybe the animals were asleep or what, because that could happen. But yeah, I don't know.
I really commend
that happened.
Huh?
I said, I'm so sorry that happened. I too have peed my pants at inopportune moments. And so not as an adult, but I peed in a communal sleeping bag at a sleepover once. So I feel your pain and I'm so sorry.
It's okay. That's it's not that surprising if you know me. Any of my friends, like in high school, that was a big problem for me. I don't know.
Just got it. Your bladder loves to laugh.
It does. And I
say it, don't spray
FOMO.
it.
What?
I said you got to teach your bladder to say it, not spray it.
I know. I think it's a FOMO thing, honestly. I think I don't like missing out, so I wait until the last possible minute to go to the bathroom. But when you're like working, you know, you should probably use the bathroom at particular times, I guess.
Yeah, you might not get that opportunity, and then next thing you know, you're stifling a laugh.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Izzy, once again, we have a story that is amazing, but too many details. We don't need all that. Why don't you, could you pick a number between 1 and 5 that is not 2 or 4, please?
I'll do 5.
5? All right. You have 27 seconds to tell us your story. Please include as many pee instances as possible in those 27 seconds.
Okay. 27 seconds feels long. I'm ready.
Go for it.
Okay. I was a student teacher. I had to speak to a student about their behavior. I took him in the hallway. We called his parents, mom, and then I peed my pants because I was so nervous. Later that week, we went to the zoo. I had to have a conversation with him. He got upset with me. I panicked and peed my pants. First time I was wearing fleece pants. Second time I was wearing jeans. Those are details I didn't add in the first time, but important details. And that's it.
And then that was awesome, but very important follow-up question. Is it better to pee your pants when you're wearing fleece pants or when you're wearing jeans?
Oh, jeans, I think.
Really?
They're both terrible, but you know what it is? These like fleece-lined pants were, I feel like they were warm kind of pants. And I wear them all year round because I'm weird, but well, I guess that's not that weird. I just like to wear them. They look nice. But I think because they're made to be warm and then you pee your pants, it feels like really uncomfortable. But neither are ideal.
It's probably also harder to wash it out of fleece than it is out of jeans.
Yeah.
Let it sit for a while.
I would think so. I washed them like twice just because I was like, I don't want it to linger. But
I've washed a lot of cat pee out of things in my day. So
yeah, that feels less embarrassing.
Well, my cat has peed directly on me before, which was not great. But
oh my God. Well, she's beautiful, so.
Oh, he is.
Or he is.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, your cat is beautiful.
Thank you. I agree. Izzy, do you have anything you want to plug? Where can people find you online?
You can find me online at Izzy Da Rosa on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, but I'm not a big TikToker yet. I'm not quite as good at it as Laura Merli is. And I guess watch my show Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern time, if you don't have any other 2MB shows that you would rather watch. But mine's on Instagram Live.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Izzy. Level 1 day.
Oh, yeah. I am triggered because I peed my pants a lot in elementary school. And nobody ever found out. It was my little secret, but still happens.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I was wondering how much of a secret it was listening to Izzy's story about the pants preference. She must have really wrecked those pants to remember which type they were. So
I just hope that it wasn't like visible, like that we should have asked that she didn't have to like walk around with pee pants all day. That's why you always carry an extra pair of pants in your purse, just in case you pee. Izzy has notified us that it was not visible in the fleece, which is important to note.
Okay. Or carry around a small spray bottle of water so you can just do the whole rest of your pants.
And then you'd be like, these are just dark pants.
Yeah, just a dark cut. Like, get over it. It's my fashion sense, Mom.
Next time I pee my pants, Bella, I'm calling you for advice.
Come on by. I mean, I actually have had cat pee embarrass me because my cat peed on my clothing, and it was because I had it piled on a laundry chair, like Bernie Sanders' living room. Yeah, so I did feel embarrassed.
I am very, very excited to bring up our final storyteller of the evening. Very funny person. He's been growing his eyebrow hair out all pandemic, and it's the most majestic thing you'll ever see in your life. Please welcome the incomparable Myq Kaplan.
Hey, everyone. I can't be comparable. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here. It's been fun to watch the show. I don't think I've peed my pants recently, and but you know, like, who's wearing pants these days? So,
good point.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's much more about peeing your couch these days, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, think big. You know, you could pee any kind of clothing or linen, or, you know, like, you could pee a marble floor, like, whatever you like.
Yeah, don't even get me started on carpeted.
As Americans, it's all right to, you know, just let loose. Let it spray those droplets all over.
Yeah. We're number one.
Oh, zing.
P is sometimes referred to as number one. Everybody understands. Great.
Even a zing, I think. If you told me you had to go zing, I would definitely understand.
I'm zinging in the rain. Yeah.
Zinging in the rain.
Yeah.
Myq, do you have a zoo story you'd like to share with us?
I'll say yes, because it would be rude of me to be like, nope, goodbye. But sincerely, the story is more of an internal journey for me. So I've been to one zoo, one literal zoo in my adult life. It's the San Diego Zoo, pretty big one. Pretty in the world of zoos. I don't know if you know zoos, but that is one of them. And it was around 2010. Here's the thing: is right now I feel like we're all kind of in, you know, a human zoo right now, like penned up in our cages. Like, do you remember, like, earlier in quarantine is when Tiger King came out? And it seems like, perhaps, I think my girlfriend made this point. She was like, perhaps it's so evocative, perhaps it's so resonant to people because they're like, that is us. Those are we are those tigers. And it's not as one tiger would have you believe. Great. And I hope that doesn't, I might make more jokes that are exactly that joke. And I hope that it doesn't grate on your nerves. So that was pretty fun. I was pretty glad to say that. But so about 10 years ago, I was on Last Comic Standing, and we went on a tour. And when we were in San Diego, a fan wrote to me and was like, "Hey, I work at the San Diego Zoo. Do you want to come, like, free zoo, like backstage VIP zoo passes?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think so." But here's the thing: the reason that I'm hesitant and the reason that it's challenging for me to for this as a topic is I've been vegan for 18, 19 years. I've been vegetarian for more than half my life. And I'm like, every once in a while, like, I don't know what all vegans and vegetarians think. Like, there's no specific meeting. Like, I like the same way that, I don't know if this analogy will, like, ring true for you, but, like, I'm Jewish, and as a Jewish person, every once in a while people are like, Jews control the media, the banks, the this or that, right? And I'm like, I don't, like, not me, you know, like, nobody told me about it. And so similarly, like, I'm not a member of the vegan Illuminati either. But and I don't, you know, like, there are some organizations. You got your PETAs, you got your this and that. Like, and I do some reading, I do some learning. I'm like, I do my best to you know, only eat plants. I did just read that spinach is able to send emails now. That's a headline I saw. I didn't read extensively the whole article. I think they might have some help from people setting up their Wi-Fi, but so I, you know, I was on a podcast recently also about sentientism, which is, you know, like the caring for, discussing the caring for all sentient life, you know, not necessarily equally, but the same way that, you know, like sometimes we care about babies, even though they're not like as sentient as we are, right? And like animals have a different kind of consciousness, or non-human animals have a different kind of consciousness than human animals might. And like the same as a baby, or like people at different stages of their development. And so the idea of sentient, there's a term I hadn't heard of sentientism until this year. I'd heard of speciesism, which is, I feel like when I started reading Peter Singer, ethical philosophy, years ago, he wrote a book called Animal Liberation in the 70s. And the idea of speciesism is like, you know, like the same thing, like racism, judging people based on their race, don't do that. Speciesism, judging based on species, don't do that. Discriminating based on species. And so I was asking this guy on his sentientism podcast, I'm like, is that what is sentientism? Sounds like it's like positive to care about all. He's like, well, I guess we're discriminating against like non-sentient beings, like rocks and stuff. So like, I'm okay discriminating against rocks. I'm like, yeah, rock, you don't have feelings to get hurt, so I'm going to discriminate against you. Like, you know, I'm a very discriminating in that sense. So, but the reason I bring this all up is I don't know what the party line is on zoos. Like, I'm like, for vegans, I'm like, what do we think? So I was like, what do you think of zoos? I'm like, ooh, like, I mean, I wouldn't have one. I wouldn't make one. I don't want to. And so I'm like, but do I even want to go to one? Because like, I don't want, like, here's the thing is, people sometimes are like, well, animals in the wild, they suffer and die in ways that maybe if they lived in a zoo. And I'm like, maybe there are also, like, I don't mean to, you know, say that it's exactly the same thing, but like, if we all were in prison, then we wouldn't die of things that weren't in prison. We would die of things. You know, animals die in the zoo also, like, of course. So I'm asking questions. So I went to the zoo because my fan was very gracious and generous, and I also was like, well, I'm not paying for this zoo. I'm going in and getting zoo for free. So I'm not like financially supporting the zoo. So I felt cool. I felt cool about that. I'm like, I'm not giving you any money, zoo. And you know, like I don't mean to make I'm okay. It's not. Here's the thing about Jews and money is that Jews like to save money, and you know who else does is everyone. Like, I don't know what group, what organization of humans, what community, what culture, what society. We're the group that hates money. We don't like to have money. We'd rather oh yeah, when you try to give us money. No, I'm not saying that there aren't individuals that there's selfless people, there's people who are charitable, there's altruistic people, but I 100% like never heard of any stereotype that somebody's like, yeah, we try to get rid of our money. So the point is, I am Jewish, and but I'm not Zooish. But in going to the zoo and not spending my money to help the zoo continue to be. But so I asked, I'm like, is it what is the, like, why are zoos? Are zoos good? What is helpful and practical and nice about a zoo? And apparently, like, there are some zoos that like go out and into the wild and care for animals, you know, like that they're animals that would be sick and die, and like they help nurse them back to health, and maybe they help them, you know, like there's pandas obviously that would be maybe going more extinct than they are if not for everyone trying to help. Like, come on, pandas, you can do it, do more pandas. And but here's the thing is also, like, when people ask me about being vegan, they're like, well, what do you want for cows? You want to just like release all the cows into the wild? I'm like, well, I don't want what's happening now for cows to continue, like for cows to continue to be born, to be tortured and killed, like in the factory farm system that continues to perpetuate. So I'm like, I'd rather, you know, like in the Bible, it's like be fruitful and multiply. And I'm like, I think for cows, let's like stop multiplying the cows, at least stop making there be more cows to suffer. Like, so I don't have all the answers. And I'm not saying that there's definitely zoos that aren't good. There's definitely zoos that I wish would stop. Like, probably the Tiger King Zoo, like those, if you can open your own zoo, I don't want you to. That's my, I guess that's one of my main things. Yeah, if you could open a zoo, don't. If you think I could have a zoo, then I don't want you to have a zoo. If you're like, I don't even know where I'd begin to have a zoo, then I'm like, okay, do some research, you know. But I went and I saw this guy I went backstage at the hippo area, and I learned a lot of cool stuff about hippos, like they pee backwards and they spin their tail when they poop to try to spray it on you so you don't want to be behind them and you don't want to be in front of them because they'll kill you more in Africa than lions will. They're like the most deadly to humans. But here's the main thing about hippos that I learned that I think I'm glad that I'm not glad that animals live in captivity, but given that they do, I am glad that I learned that hippos exude a sunscreen-like sweat. They sweat a thing that protects them, like UV protects them from the sun. And I'm like, we're supposed to be more evolved than that, and we don't do that. So that's what I say. That if you're like, yep, we're the top of the food chain, like get back to me when you can sweat sunscreen, because I just started putting sunscreen on this year regularly. I heard that Kurt Vonnegut thing years ago, but my girlfriend finally, after years of doing it herself, she's like, you also maybe don't want to get skin cancer? I'm like, I also don't. So the point is, wearing sunscreen is good, and also drinking water. I fill this with water 3 times a day, and get enough sleep if you can. And this is not about the zoo anymore, but basically, yeah, I get out of the cage of your mind where you think that zoos are okay, man. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, I think it's important as a vegan to just really feed into the stereotype about the voice, man. Or why man? Why? That's kind of sexist, hippies. How about woman and non-binary person, man, woman, person, hey, person. So yeah, I sincerely am conflicted about the concept of zoos because I do want for animals to live. I wish that we could ask them what they want. I wish that they could live their best lives free in an environment. Like, I know tigers at the zoo don't have as much. They have, a fraction of the land that they would roam over if they're out in the wild. And also there are dangers. And so the point is, I don't know anything. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Yes.
Myq Kaplan canonically does not like Matt Damon in the film We Bought a Zoo.
Ha.
So,
but I do like Matt Damon in real life because he's trying to get everybody all that water, that sweet, sweet water. Even if he's doing it for his ego, people are sometimes like, hey, what do you gonna just, that's what celebrities are doing. They just want to be famous and keep being famous, get their name in your face. But I feel like for the people, I had a woman on my podcast once who's the head of an animal rights organization. I just ask her what she thinks about zoos. But I asked her, basically, we talked about the fact that animals don't care why you're not eating them. They're just happy for you not to be eating them. And people who don't have water probably don't care if they're like, give me Matt Damon's ego water. I'll definitely, I'll drink his ego right up if need be. So yeah, I would say Matt Damon is, what's the greater than symbol than Matt Damon's zoo buying character.
I have to agree. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Nora. Did I cut you off there?
Oh, I was
like Zootopia. Yeah.
Did you get to see any other behind the scenes zoo exhibits, or was it just the hippo exhibit that you got to see?
There might have been one more. The hippo's the one that really stood out to me. I got to watch him feed them. He fed I think these giant shovels of hay, maybe. Nice. Just they just come out of the water and just open their mouths, and he just a giant snow shovel of hay into it.
I want someone to shovel food into my mouth. That's the dream.
Honestly,
yeah.
I was just looking at a couple notes I took because I needed to know more. Spinach sending emails. We need the hippos to email us. They can express how they feel that way.
You're right. I mean, if Spinach can do it, then animals. I mean, I'm sure that I know that they are. I have a friend who works in a lab with a monkey or some kind of ape-like creature that they've hooked up some things to their brain, and they're doing experiments to learn, that there's communication happening. That they're thinking stuff, they're feeling stuff, and it would be good for us to know what it is. I mean, here's the problem is you hook up a bunch of electrodes to an animal's brain, and you're like, hey, we're getting a message from them. It's saying, stop it.
Crap off my head.
I'm uncomfortable being poked and prodded, and I'm at a doctor's appointment right now.
I'm a monkey, and I'm I'm glad to be able to tell you this piece of information from my brain electrodes that you've hooked up. And the thing that I'd like to say is, why did you do this?
Yes,
you just wasted $2 million on this project.
Peel off the Band-Aid slowly.
Yeah, just bananas,
Where are you
please.
on Coco the gorilla? Coco the sign language gorilla. Are you a fan?
I mean, I studied Coco a little bit when I took linguistics classes, and I don't know what Coco's life was like. It did seem that she was friends with the people who were taking care of her. There's also, like, I don't know, Stockholm syndrome potentially going on. Like, we can all, I think we all have the capacity to, in any situation, like rise to have like our mood expand like gas in a balloon. It'll fill it all up. But also, if the balloon wasn't there, then the gas would go even farther. So I imagine that Coco might have had a fun time living in the wild with other gorillas that she didn't have to learn human or, this makeshift sign language for. But I mean, I'm grateful that Coco seemed happy and seemed to be friends with people, learning the language that she was forced to learn.
Exactly.
What they never show you is Coco going like this all the time, where she's just
yeah. Coco was always like crying, sad, gorilla in nature. No, she did express positive things as well, not to make folks feel bad, but yeah,
Tall Tale Short Tale is against gorillas learning English, even if it's in sign language.
Spanish only.
Spanish only.
I would say, here's the thing. When I talk about these things, like, I don't want any humans to feel bad when I'm talking about this. And I also don't want any animals to feel bad. So that's the all I want is I want every sentient being's happiness to increase and suffering to decrease. That's all I want.
I think 2MB Studios is behind that message.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of decreasing our suffering, Myq, that was a pretty long story that you shared.
Oh, you're right.
Would you
I'm sorry.
consider it?
The probe says.
Shorten it just a smidge.
All right, I can do that.
Could you pick a number that between 1 and 5 that is not 2, 4, or 5? So pick a number that's either 1 or 3.
Oh, I understand. That's a strange way to offer that. I'll say 1.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, because that means you have 18 seconds to tell us about the zoo.
I'm very excited. I'll see the counter on the screen. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I went to a zoo. It was the San Diego Zoo. I saw hippos. I liked seeing them. I also am happy for all the animals to get to live their free, fullest lives in the wild where they want to. Wish we knew what they wanted and could give that to them. I'm a vegan. Help animals. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do you have anything you want to plug? Where can people find you?
Sure. I put in my screen name right there. Look at that. I also almost had to, I thought it was gonna be there, but it's there. That's my name on social media, Myq Kaplan, my website, all the things. I have many albums. The newest one came out during the pandemic last year. It's called AKA. My podcasts are called The Faucet, which is just me and Broccoli and Ice Cream, where I have conversations with friends about the works and joys of their life. And I do a bunch of things like this. Follow me and engage, put my name places, and you'll find the things. And this is one of the things.
Above all, follow Myq on Twitter. He has lots of great tweets daily. A lot of them are positive, but a lot of them are scathing reviews of our socioeconomic system.
Which I think that's positive too.
That's also positive. We love to be.
I did see a piece of kale over by Mike's desk, so I wouldn't be so sure of the authorship.
Thank you.
Thank you so
very much. And thank you, Cool Handra, in the comments. You have said a funny, nice thing. I like that you said holy vegan substitute cow when I mean, holy cow is one of the most vegan expressions that there is, coming from perhaps the fact that some cultures hold cows to be sacred and thus not to be eaten. So please keep your cows whole and holy as much as possible. And then if you want to eat them, then substitute them. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Myq. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Thanks,
all.
Myq.
Thank you. Bye. Oh my gosh. I just realized that I was eating chicken nuggets through a vegan set. That was disrespectful and irresponsible, and I apologize to all of the chickens.
Multicultural, Nora. It's a mosaic, not a melting pot.
Especially the chickens from Chicken Run. We've come full circle.
Don't eat them either. They're actually made of clay.
They have human teeth, so I'm not interested.
Oh, no. Well, I'm going to head over to the kitchen and start training my vegetables to do my petty email work.
Nice.
But
I'm going to eat some
so fantastic.
Fries. Please stay on 2MB Studios Twitch page. They have so many good shows every single day of the week with hilarious comics and storytellers and content creators from all over the country. We have been Bella and Nora for Tall Tale Short Tale.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.
Oh, yeah.